William Jones checked his watch for the third time in 5 minutes, his jaw tightening as the airport gate agent shook her head. "I'm sorry, sir. The flight to Los Angeles has just departed." His grip on the handle of his leather suitcase tightened. This was a disaster. He had an executive board meeting in the morning, a billion-dollar deal on the line, and now he was stranded in a tiny airport, miles away from the city. "Next flight?" he asked, keeping his voice measured. "Tomorrow morning," the agent replied, unfazed by his obvious frustration. Tomorrow morning was too late. William exhaled sharply, running a hand through his neatly styled dark hair. He needed an alternative. Fast. No other flights. No rental cars. No private jets available within a reasonable distance. Just as he was about to curse his luck, a voice beside him said, "Missed your flight too, huh?" He turned to find a woman standing next to him. Ana Garcia, her wavy brown hair pulled into a messy bun, a duffel bag slung over her shoulder. She had bright, inquisitive brown eyes and wore a faded band tee with ripped jeans, completely opposite of his tailored suit and polished leather shoes. "Unfortunately," he replied. On a side, "This airport is the worst. One flight a day, and if you miss it, you're screwed." She studied him for a moment before adding, "I'm heading to Los Angeles too. No flights, no rentals, but I do have a car." William raised an eyebrow. "You do?" "Yeah, it's not exactly a private jet, but it'll get me there. You're welcome to tag along if you don't mind a road trip." William hesitated. He had never traveled with a stranger, let alone driven across multiple states with one, but he was out of options. "How long is the drive?" he asked. "About 10 hours, unless you're one of those people who insists on stopping every hour for coffee." He studied her for a moment. She didn't seem dangerous. There was something refreshingly unfiltered about her, something that didn't immediately scream ulterior motive. He exhaled. "Fine, let's go." Ana grinned. "Great. I'm Ana Garcia, by the way. And you are?" "William Jones." She tilted her head playfully. "Sounds fancy." He didn't respond, simply following her out of the airport. The parking lot was nearly empty, save for an old Jeep Wrangler parked near the exit. Ana walked straight toward it and tossed her bag in the back. William eyed the vehicle skeptically. "This is your car?" "Yep." She patted the hood. "Don't worry, she runs great." He wasn't convinced, but he climbed into the passenger seat anyway. As soon as Ana started the engine, music blasted from the speakers, something loud and energetic. William sighed. This was going to be a long ride. William sat stiffly in the passenger seat, trying to ignore the loud music blasting from the car's speakers. Ana, noticing his discomfort, turned the volume down slightly, but the upbeat rhythm remained. "You seem like the kind of guy who schedules his lunch breaks down to the minute," she teased, glancing at him as she drove. William didn't respond, instead keeping his attention on his phone, searching for a last-minute alternative. But it was useless. No flights, no rentals, no other options. "Let me guess. You're a CEO or a lawyer," Ana continued, her tone playful but curious. Without looking up, William replied, "What makes you think that?" "The expensive suit, the polished shoes, and the way you look like you'd rather be anywhere but in this car," she grinned. "Am I right?" He sighed, finally slipping his phone back into his pocket. "I run a company." "Ah, so definitely one of the two," Ana smirked. "What kind of company? A coffee chain? A tech empire? Or a secret underground operation?" Despite himself, William let out a small smirk. "Not quite. Jones Enterprises. We specialize in mergers and acquisitions." Ana's eyes widened slightly. "Wait, Jones Enterprises? As in the billion-dollar company?" He gave a slight nod, used to this reaction. She let out a low whistle. "Well, I was not expecting that, and here I thought you were just another stranded traveler. Guess I'm chauffeuring a billionaire." William shrugged. "I prefer efficiency." Ana chuckled. "You make it sound like living without a plan is a crime." He didn't reply immediately. To him, structure was necessary. It prevented mistakes, kept things from falling apart. But Ana seemed to live the exact opposite way. She reached into the glove compartment, pulled out a candy bar and held it out to him. "Want one? It's a long drive." William eyed the candy for a moment before shaking his head. "Thanks, but I don't eat sweets." Anna rolled her eyes. "Of course. You totally seem like the kind of guy who lives on salads and detox drinks." He chuckled. "And you? I take it you're not someone who follows a strict schedule?" Anna shrugged, keeping her eyes on the road. "I like freedom. Schedules make me feel trapped." Two completely different people now stuck in a car together for the next 10 hours. William still wasn't sure how he felt about it, but maybe, just maybe, this trip wouldn't be as unbearable as he first thought. After nearly 3 hours on the road, Anna pulled into a small, desolate gas station off the highway. Stretching her arms, she glanced over at William, who was still seated stiffly in the passenger seat. "I need to refuel. You want anything?" she asked. William glanced at the tiny convenience store next to the station, then shook his head. "I don't usually eat from places like this." Anna crossed her arms, shaking her head with mock disapproval. "Of course not. Let me guess, you only eat at 5-star restaurants?" William sighed but didn't argue. With a chuckle, Anna disappeared into the store and returned minutes later with a bag full of snacks. She held out a pack of potato chips to him. "Come on, live little." He hesitated before finally taking the bag. As he took a bite, Anna watched him expectantly. "Not bad, right?" William shrugged. "It's acceptable." They got back on the road, and after a few minutes of silence, Anna suddenly asked, "So, when you were a kid, did you ever want to do something other than run a company?" William hesitated before finally admitting, "I wanted to be an architect." Anna turned to him, eyebrows raised. "Really? What happened?" He let out a small, humorless chuckle. "My family had other plans." Anna was quiet for a moment before she said, "You know, just because you've been on one path for so long doesn't mean you can't change direction." William didn't respond, but her words lingered in his mind. The night sky stretched endlessly above them, the darkness punctuated only by the car's headlights cutting through the empty road. After hours of driving, Anna suddenly slowed down and veered onto a dirt road off the highway. William frowned. "What are you doing?" Anna just smiled. "Taking a break. Have you ever really looked at the night sky without city lights getting in the way?" She killed the engine and hopped out of the Jeep. William hesitated, then sighed before following her. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he glanced upward and froze. The sky above them was vast and endless, filled with stars shimmering against the black canvas. Unlike Los Angeles, where neon lights and skyscrapers dominated the skyline, here the sky felt open, raw, limitless. Anna sat down on the dry grass, patting the spot next to her. "Come on, you can't fully enjoy this if you just stand there." William hesitated before finally lowering himself beside her. For a while they sat in silence. Then, out of nowhere, Anna asked, "Do you ever regret anything?" William raised an eyebrow, turning to look at her. "That's a pretty direct question." Anna shrugged. "We've got 10 hours stuck in a car together. I'm not going to talk about the weather." William considered her words before answering. "Trusting the wrong people." Anna glanced at him, something unreadable flickering in her brown eyes. "Yeah, I get that." She didn't elaborate, but William could sense the weight behind her words. "What about you?" he asked. Anna leaned back, her gaze fixed on the stars. "I regret letting other people dictate my choices for too long." William studied her for a moment, genuinely intrigued, but he didn't press her for details. If she wanted to share, she would. They sat in silence, the cool night air brushing against their skin, the stars glimmering above. For the first time in years, William wasn't thinking about meetings, deadlines, or acquisitions. And strangely enough, he didn't mind. After a few more minutes of silence, Anna stretched her arms and stood up, brushing dust off her jeans. "All right, break's over, back on the road." William watched her for a moment before rising to his feet as well. As they climbed back into the Jeep, he realized something had shifted, not in the trip, but within himself. Anna drove with an effortless ease, one hand on the wheel, the other tapping along to the soft rhythm of a song playing on the radio. William, instead of burying himself in his phone or his schedule, found himself gazing out the window, watching the vast landscape blur past them. "You seem more relaxed," Anna noted, glancing at him. He leaned back. arms crossed over his chest. Maybe. Or maybe I've just accepted the chaos. She laughed. That's progress. A few minutes passed before she asked, is there something you've always wanted to do, but never had time for? William hesitated. His life had always followed a carefully structured plan. He had never stopped to consider anything outside of it. I don't know, he admitted finally. No one's ever asked me that before. Anna shot him a surprised look. Not even once? William let out a small chuckle. My career has been a series of calculated moves. Every decision I've ever made had a purpose. I never really stopped to think about anything else. Anna was quiet for a moment before she said, you know, not everything in life has to be planned out. Sometimes, the best things happen when you least expect them. William didn't argue. He still wasn't entirely convinced by Anna's spontaneous approach to life. But for the first time, he started wondering if maybe, just maybe, he had been missing something all along. After hours of driving, the bright lights of Los Angeles finally appeared on the horizon. William watched as towering buildings and glowing neon signs came into view, a familiar sight pulling him back to reality. He should have felt relieved. Instead, there was a strange, lingering sense of reluctance. Anna had gone noticeably quiet. Her fingers gripped the steering wheel a little tighter, her gaze fixed on the road ahead. You okay? William asked, breaking the silence. Anna let out a slow breath. I should probably tell you why I'm here. William turned his attention fully to her. My sister's getting married, she said, her voice softer than usual. And I wasn't planning on going, but then I realized I'd regret it if I didn't. He studied her expression. Why weren't you planning on going? Anna pressed her lips together, her fingers tapping lightly against the wheel. My family and we don't exactly see eye to eye. They think I should have followed a more traditional path, settled down by now. Instead, I chose to live my own way. William understood that more than she realized. And now you're walking straight into the lion's den, he said. Anna let out a short chuckle. Something like that. A beat of silence passed before she turned to look at him. What about you? What happens when you get to the city? William hesitated. His life in Los Angeles was structured down to the minute. Everything was planned, organized, efficient. But now, for the first time, he wasn't sure if he wanted to step right back into it. His voice was slower this time, more thoughtful. I go back to a life where every second is planned out. He glanced out the window, then added quietly, but I'm starting to wonder if that's what I really want. Anna watched him, her brown eyes softer now. The city was getting closer, but for once, William wasn't in a rush. The Jeep rolled to a stop in front of a small boutique hotel nestled in the heart of Los Angeles. Anna turned off the engine, but she didn't move to get out. Neither did William. This is where I'm staying, she said, her hands resting on the wheel. William glanced outside, his fingers tapping lightly against his knee. What about your sister's wedding? When is it? Tonight, she replied simply. He nodded, mulling something over before turning to her. Would you like me to come with you? Anna arched an eyebrow, clearly surprised. You want to go to my family's wedding? William shrugged. If they're as difficult as you say, maybe it'll be easier if you have a friend with you. Anna stared at him for a moment, as if trying to figure out if he was joking. But when she saw the sincerity in his eyes, she let out a soft chuckle. You know, William, you really are full of surprises. I'll take that as a compliment, he smirked. The wedding was held in a beautiful garden, fairy lights twinkling overhead, casting a warm glow over the guests. As Anna stepped inside with William by her side, the noise around them quieted slightly, a few people turning to look. A woman in a white gown, Anna's sister, spotted her immediately. Her eyes widened in surprise, but within seconds her expression softened into a smile. You came! Anna smiled back, nodding. Of course, I wouldn't miss this for the world. Her father approached, his gaze shifting from Anna to William, taking in the unfamiliar face. Who's this? William took a step forward, extending a hand politely. William Jones. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. The older man studied him for a long moment before shaking his hand. Jones? As in Jones Enterprises? William gave a small nod. That's right. Something flickered in the man's expression. Surprise, perhaps? But he didn't press further. Instead, he turned back to his daughter, his voice quieter now. I'm glad you're here, Anna. Anna's shoulders, which had been tense all evening, finally relaxed. Maybe this wasn't going to be as bad as she had feared. After the wedding, as the guests began to leave, William and Anna stepped out into the cool night air. The garden still smelled faintly of flowers, the laughter from inside fading into the distance. Hands tucked into his pockets, William spoke casually. I could stay for a little while. Anna turned to him, amusement flickering in her brown eyes. Don't you have an important meeting? He let out a soft chuckle. I'll handle it. Anna crossed her arms, tilting her head as she studied him. You're really changing, William Jones. Maybe, he admitted, and for the first time, he didn't try to fight it. They wandered a little further before spotting a small cafe, still open despite the late hour. They sat down across from each other, neither in a rush, neither thinking about what came next. For the first time in his life, William made a decision that wasn't planned, and he didn't regret it one bit. 1 year later, William and Anna were still together. They had taken countless road trips, exploring new places, small towns, and breathtaking sunsets by the coast. William, once a man who lived by a strict schedule, had learned to let go, to balance work and life instead of letting work consume him entirely. Today, they were on yet another trip, but this time, the destination wasn't the most important thing. The golden hues of the Santa Monica sunset stretched across the horizon, waves rolling gently against the shore, setting the perfect scene, calm, intimate, and undeniably beautiful. Anna walked barefoot along the sand, the ocean breeze tousling her hair as she took in the sight before her. Did you really do all this? She teased, her lips curving into a smile as she spotted the elegantly set-up table, a cozy dinner for two, candles flickering in the warm evening air, and a bottle of wine waiting. William stood beside her, hands casually tucked into his pockets, a small smirk playing on his lips. If I'm going to impress you, I have to do it right. Anna let out a soft laugh, shaking her head. The William Jones I met a year ago would never have done this. William tilted his head slightly, studying her. And the man standing in front of you now? She hesitated for just a second, then smiled. He surprises me every day. William took a deep breath before slipping a hand into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. As he slowly dropped to one knee, Anna's eyes widened, her breath hitching. Ana Garcia, his voice was steady, but there was a rare warmth in it. You changed everything for me. You made me realize that a life without a plan is sometimes the best kind. And if there's one thing I want to be certain about in this life, he flipped open the box, revealing a ring that gleamed under the fading sunlight. It's you. A single tear slipped down Anna's cheek, but she didn't care. Her smile was radiant as she nodded, voice filled with certainty, 1,000 times yes. William chuckled, slipping the ring onto her finger before pulling her into his arms, their lips meeting in a kiss, slow, unrushed, filled with nothing but love and certainty. No schedules, no rigid plans, just a life filled with unexpected moments, shared with the one person who made him believe that sometimes the best things come unplanned.